Good morning. Welcome to this regularly scheduled council meeting. My name is Barbara Johnson, City Council President, and before we have our meeting, we have a couple of special guests to honor this morning, and we're going to start with the folks from the Ovarian Cancer Awareness. If you'd come up to the front here, that'd be great. Come on over so we get on. Everybody gets on camera. We have guests to join us. We have a resolution of the City Council declaring September 2016 to be Ovarian Cancer Month in the City of Minneapolis. And I'm going to briefly go through the resolution and have some highlights here. It's the 9th most commonly diagnosed cancer among women, 22,000 new cases each year. Ovarian cancer is the 5th leading cause of cancer-related death in women ages 35 to 74. Diagnosis, and I think this is something that is a real challenge, that you don't have a lot of symptoms, and so the diagnosis doesn't occur until sometimes it's advanced. And it is then, because of that, one of the most deadly gynecological cancers. And so 400 women in Minnesota will be diagnosed, and 260 women in Minnesota will die from the disease this year. And because of the late diagnosis, 45% of women die within 5 years of their diagnosis. It's treatable when it's recognized early, and 92% of women survive longer than 5 years if the disease is detected and treated properly before it has spread. So we have in front of us a resolution declaring September 2016 to be Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Minneapolis, and that the 35W Bridge be lit teal, which is the color of this movement, on Thursday, September 1st, in honor of the Minnesota Ovarian Cancer Alliance's work to raise awareness, provide support, and fund ovarian cancer research. So thank you for joining us, and I'd like to say a few words. Introduce yourself.
I'm June Miller. And I am fortunate enough to be a 17-year survivor. Not everyone is that lucky. As you said, the statistics are not great, so this proclamation will go a long way to help raise the awareness that we need.
Okay. I'm Kathleen Gavin. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Ovarian Cancer Alliance, and we are in Councilwoman Glidden's area. We're at 46 in Chicago. We maintain an office there that is open to the public, and we're here for all of the citizens of Minneapolis and Minnesota. Anyone affected by the disease, we're happy to help in any way we can. We fund research on ovarian cancer. We've given out $6 million for research, and we support women and families impacted by the disease. So thank you for giving the opportunity to bring this important issue before the council.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and here's your resolution. We'll pass it later on in our agenda. Thank you. We also have Councilmember Cano is going to join me. The pleasure of introducing a new Consul General for our neighboring country, Mexico, who's here for a very special occasion. And so I'm going to turn this over to Councilmember Cano if she can negotiate her way through the cameras here. But we have a wonderful relationship through our Consul General over the years with Mexico, and we also have a great sister city relationship, and so we're going to celebrate both of those things today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Council President. And if I may ask our special guest to please come up and join us. We will have Mr. Manuel Manriquez Zapata and his wife. Please come to the front of the room. And we can have folks, maybe have you stand right next to the Council President on this side, en este lado, por favor. And then we'll have our Sister City, Cuernavaca Sister City committee members here, our co-chair Ana Columba and Señora Victorina and Don Loreto, who are part of the active committee, and our Mexican consul, Mr. Guerrero. Please join us and maybe take a spot next to Mr. Manuel Manriquez, Zapata's wife. So this is a very important event for the Mexican community here in Minneapolis and nationally. We have the great honor of having one of the surviving members and legacy carriers of the Zapata history and legacy of the great Mexican Revolution. And so we will be reading a resolution today honoring that legacy. And it's akin to having George Washington's descendants amongst us. That is what this means for the Mexican community, to have our community represented here with that. So thank you, Council President. Appreciate your support. So this is a resolution by the mayor and the city council declaring Emiliano Zapata Day. Whereas Emiliano Zapata Salazar, born to an indigenous and Spanish family in Anenecuilco, Morelos, Mexico in 1879, is recognized as a national hero of the Mexican Revolution, which lasted from 1910 to 1920. Whereas Zapata captured the hearts and minds of the Mexican people who lived in severe poverty and under the repression of the military dictator Porfirio Diaz, who for more than 3 decades ruled the country. Whereas Zapata himself was a farmer who fought for social justice and land reform, coining the famous phrase, "The land belongs to those who till it." And whereas Minneapolis has become home to hundreds of people from the state of Morelos, with the highest number coming from the city of Azochiapan, and whereas Cuernavaca, the capital of Morelos, became a sister city to Minneapolis in 2008, whereas Plaza Centenario, located on East Lake Street and 12th Avenue, houses a bronze sculpture of Emiliano Zapata's iconic image, which was a gift from the state of Morelos and ushered to Minneapolis by the Club Cuernavaca Azochiapan Morelos and our Cuernavaca Sister City Committee. Whereas the establishment of Plaza Centenario in Minneapolis' largest Latino community provides an opportunity for all residents to learn about the history and importance of Emiliano Zapata, celebrating the relationship between Mexico and the U.S. generally, and Minneapolis and Morelos specifically. Whereas on Saturday, August 6, 2016, Mr. Isaías Manuel Manrique Zapata, who is the grandson to Emiliano Zapata, will come to Minneapolis to celebrate what would have been Emiliano Zapata's 137th birth year with a community celebration at Plaza Centenario. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Minneapolis that the first Saturday in August 2016 shall be known as Emiliano Zapata Day. Our lovely. And now we will have our consul say a few words, and then we will hand it over to our guests to close out our presentation.
Thank you very much, Alondra. Distinguished Betsy Koch, Mayor of the City of Minneapolis, Barbara Johnson, President of the City Council of Minneapolis, Alondra Cano, Council Member representing the Ninth Guard, Bill Dev from Minneapolis, Señor Manuel Manrique Zapata, nieto del General Emiliano Zapata, and all the organizers and attendants. Es un honor para mí participar por primera ocasión como cónsul de México en Minnesota en un aniversario más del natalicio del General Emiliano Zapata Salazar. It's an honor for me to participate by first time as Consul of Mexico in Minnesota in this ceremony in honor of the General Emiliano Zapata Salazar. Emiliano Zapata, noveno hijo de una humilde familia campesina, era poseedor de un considerable carisma entre sus vecinos por su moderación y confianza en sí mismo. Pasaba por ser el mejor domador de caballos de la comarca y muchas haciendas se lo disputaban. A los 30 años de edad fue electo como presidente del nuevo Consejo Municipal de Anenecuilco, su lugar de nacimiento. Como presidente del Consejo Municipal, Emiliano Zapata comenzó a tratar con intelectuales capitalinos para hacer valer los derechos de la propiedad de sus paisanos. Tal actividad no pasó desapercibida y posiblemente a causa de ello el ejército lo llamó a filas. De regreso a Morelos, Zapata retomó la defensa de las tierras comunales en Anenecuilco. Se había iniciado un juicio con la hacienda del hospital y los campesinos no podían sembrar en las tierras en litigio hasta que los tribunales resolvieran. Emiliano Zapata tomó su primera decisión drástica. Al frente de un pequeño grupo armado, ocupó las tierras del hospital y las repartió entre los campesinos. Como jefe supremo del Movimiento Revolucionario del Sur, rango que le fue designado en 1911, tomó la ciudad de Cuautla, punto de partida para extender su poder por el Estado. Y procedió a repartir las tierras en las zonas que controlaba. Zapata elaboró en noviembre de 1913 el Plan de Ayala, en el cual, entre otras cosas, anunciaba la expropiación de 1/3 de las tierras de los terratenientes a cambio de una compensación si se aceptaba y por la fuerza en caso contrario. Los que se sumaron a este plan enarbolaron la bandera de la reforma agraria. En 1914, Emiliano Zapata, después de su rompimiento con Francisco Villa, se retira a Morelos y concentra ahí su acción en la reconstrucción de su estado, que vivió 18 meses de auténtica paz y revolución agraria. El aporte de algunos intelectuales dio solidez ideológica al movimiento agrarista y ello permitió a los zapatistas organizar administrativamente el espacio que controlaban. En este sentido, el gobierno de Zapata en el estado de Morelos creó comisiones agrarias, estableció la primera entidad de crédito agrario en México e intentó convertir la industria del azúcar y de Morelos en una cooperativa. Zapata llevó a la práctica un conjunto de avanzadas medidas agrarias y sociales, tanto para incrementar su base en Morelos como para buscar apoyos en el resto de México. Emiliano Zapata was killed in 1919, but his principles and legacy are still alive. Maybe the keystone of his legacy is that Zapata is identified as an authentic leader of the people, that never betrayed his principles, neither the people that was the reason of his fight. With the idea to fight for the people and not for the popular interest, Zapata was able to concentrate in his plan of Ayala the basic demands of the Mexican people: land and freedom. Under this very simple but very powerful slogan, the demands of the Mexican people were synthesized. Many offers were made to Emiliano Zapata, but he never negotiated, and that is why his legacy keeps being powerful after almost 100 years of his death. Emiliano Zapata is an example of the magnificence of the Mexican people. The Mexican people are honor of high standards of moral principles, loyalty, and great nobleness. It is necessary, it is mandatory to recognize that great contributions that Mexican immigrants have done to the United States and its people. Mexican immigrants have been hard workers that came to this country and that have been an important element to build this great nation that are the United States. Now, I am going to make just few key facts of the relationship between Mexico and Minnesota and the contribution of the Mexican immigrants to this state. Sorry. Minnesota and Mexico are strategic and interdependent partners. According with the Department of Employment and Economic Development, in 2015, Mexico remained as Minnesota's second largest market, behind Canada, importing $2.4 billion in Minnesotan products. But besides the importance of the Mexican market for the exporting sector of Minnesota, let me mention the relevant contribution of the Mexican community to the economy of the state. According to the report, Economic Potential of Minnesotan of Mexican origin, Minnesotans of Mexican origin make significant economic contributions to the economy of this state in the various roles they play, meaning as consumers, workers, entrepreneurs, cultural assets and trade, global networks, and taxpayers. The report states that Minnesotans of Mexican origin have an annually aggregate income of $2.5 billion, which means that Mexican community has a significant spending power as consumers of local goods and services. Our workforce, accordingly to the same report, the over 80,000 workers play a critical role in several sectors, particularly construction, agriculture, food preparation, packers and package hands, in the service like recreation, accommodation, and and food services, but also in healthcare and social assistance, from cooks in restaurant of Lake Street to physicians in Mayo Clinic. The role of Mexican origin workforce is vital to the health of the economy of Minnesota. That is why, and because many other reasons, we cannot accept when someone says that Mexican immigrants come to the United States to steal jobs that are for Americans, and that Mexican immigrants are a financial negative to the United States and its taxpayers, or make the negatory or offensive statements. It's very different. It's very statements generalizing that Mexicans are criminals. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Muchísimas gracias. And now we will have some short words from our honored guest here, Emiliano Zapata's grandson, Mr. Manuel Manriquez Zapata.
Thank you.
Voy a traducir después de que usted diga sus palabras.
Eso le iba a preguntar.
Ajá, si puede decir algo en español y luego me da a mí la chance.
Correcto. Para irle tanteando.
Sí, sí, sí.
Muy buenos días, estimada concurrencia. Un saludo primeramente a todos los miembros, a todos los concejales que están aquí presentes, a los amigos, a las personas que nos conocieron el año anterior, el año pasado, y que estuvieron aquí con nosotros en este mismo lugar para dar una lectura de la resolución donde se dice que la primera semana de agosto va a ser el día cercano al 8 de agosto, que es la fecha original del nacimiento del general Zapata, va a ser el día de Zapata.
He just wants to send a warm salutation to all the council members and to all the friends that were here last year for the resolution, which honors the first day and Saturday as the day of Zapata, although we recognize that Zapata's birthday is August 8th. Adelante.
Agradezco nuevamente la invitación que nos hacen las personas, los concejales, en este caso la señora Alondra Cano, para estar presente en esta conmemoración que es el número 137 del natalicio del general Zapata.
So on the 137th birthday of General Emiliano Zapata, we thank you for inviting us back, City Council.
El señor cónsul acaba de hacer una relatoría sobre cuestiones importantes de la vida del general Emiliano Zapata.
The General Council has given us a lot of facts about the life of Emiliano Zapata.
Debido al poco tiempo con que contamos, pues nomás voy a referirme a 2 o 3 situaciones que a lo mejor no se ha reflexionado muy bien sobre el actuar de Emiliano Zapata.
I'm going to relate to you an account about the life of Emiliano Zapata. Nada más tenemos tiempo para una historia porque nos tenemos que
Bueno, Emiliano Zapata fue el héroe más puro de la revolución, que tuvo la necesidad y la oportunidad de combatir a 5 presidentes de la República.
Emiliano Zapata was the most pure revolutionary fighter in our country who was able to take on 5 different military generals.
Sus ideas y sus postulados posteriormente quedaron plasmados en la Constitución de 1917 de México.
His ideas and values were then codified in the 1917 Constitution of Mexico.
Esperamos que el día de mañana este festejo, esta conmemoración, porque es el nacimiento de un personaje distinguido que el destino le tenía preparado en su diario vivir, en su diario acontecer. Se puede decir que nació marcado por el destino para poder ayudar a su pueblo.
We are hoping that you will join us tomorrow at the celebration on East Lake Street from 12 to 5, where we will continue to celebrate the life of Zapata, who was a man born and destined
when I go out there.
the Mexican community.
We should just
Estamos muy agradecidos por la invitación y esperamos verlos a todos ustedes y a sus familiares el día de mañana a partir de las 12 horas. Muchas gracias por su atención.
¿Nos puede presentar eso a la...
Vamos a hacer entrega de un cuadro, un reconocimiento del Consejo del Patrimonio Histórico de Cuautla.
This is a presentation from the city of Cuautla, where Zapata's remains are found, to the city council and to the president.
Este reconocimiento es a la ciudad de Minneapolis,
This is a recognition for the city of Minneapolis from the city of Cuautla,
resaltando algunos de los objetivos del general Zapata.
to highlight the objectives of Emiliano Zapata and what he stood for.
Pues es un gusto entregar ese reconocimiento y que pues quede en la memoria de aquí del Consejo de que fue uno de los primeros reconocimientos que se le otorga a los concejales de esta hermosísima ciudad.
So we hope that this will live in the institutional memory of the city of Minneapolis as one of the first recognitions from the city of Cuautla to the city of Minneapolis.
Muchas gracias.
Pues muchísimas gracias por su atención.
Gracias, señor. Ahí nos vemos. Gracias, gracias. Tenerlo aquí, ¿eh? Sí, sí, sí. Gracias. Oye, vamos a tomarnos una foto rápido, disculpen. Gracias por estar aquí. Nos vemos.
I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Minneapolis City Council to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Bender. Here. Glidden.
Here.
Yang.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Quincy. Here. Warsami.
Present.
Goodman.
Present.
Fry.
Here.
Palmisano.
Here.
Gordon.
Here.
Kano.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
President Johnson.
Here.
There are 13 members present.
We have all members present this morning. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Madam President, I would like to move to amend the agenda. In front of you, it's on new business item number 2 regarding aircraft noise attenuation ordinance.
Councilmember Quincy has moved to amend the agenda to include under new business a notice of intent to introduce an ordinance adding a new chapter entitled Aircraft Noise Attenuation. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries. Any other amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, clerk call the roll on the agenda as amended.
Councilmember Bender.
Yes.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That motion is approved. Next, we have acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 22nd, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
The minutes have been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries. Next are referrals of petitions, communications, and reports to proper committees.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries. Next are the reports of the standing committees, and the first is Committee of the Whole, and that committee is chaired by the Council Vice President Elizabeth Glidden.
Thank you, Madam President. There are 3 items on the agenda for today, and I'll read through all of them. There is a change in what you see on the printed agenda on item number 2. So the first is the petition to amend the city charter for minimum wage, and that includes passage of a resolution concurring in the legal findings of the city attorney that the subject of the petition for a minimum wage is not a proper charter amendment, and directing the city clerk not to transmit the question to the county auditor. 2, approving ballot language to submit the proposal of $15 an hour minimum wage to the electorate as part of the 2016 general election. And 3, directing the office of the city coordinator to work with stakeholders, review policies from other cities, review and incorporate results from the forthcoming minimum wage study, and recommend a minimum wage policy to bring before the Committee of the Whole by the second quarter of 2017, and to formulate a plan for engagement to bring before the Committee of the Whole on or before October 5th, 2016, with early signature by the mayor requested on this entire item. Item number 2 is the petition to amend the city charter regarding police professional liability insurance. It includes passage of a resolution concurring in the legal findings of the city attorney that the subject of the petition for police professional liability insurance is not a proper charter amendment, and directing the city clerk not to transmit the question to the county auditor. In the packet that is in front of you, and for those who are here, there are some extras here. We just neglected to approve the ballot language at our Wednesday committee meeting. And what I am moving for you, the draft ballot language, is language that has been discussed both with the committee and with the city attorney. It is very slightly different from the language that was discussed on Wednesday that we did not vote on. And the changes, just to alert you, are in the title. So the title would now read, Proposal to amend the Minneapolis City Charter to require police officers to maintain liability insurance. And that follows the language and the full question that was presented when questions were gathered. And then in the language below that, in the more full description that would be on there, there is the language that is used as have and maintain. Minneapolis police officers to have and maintain continuous coverage. And so, as you might remember, we discussed the options of different words like purchase and obtain, and we ended up working with the committee to have some agreeable language that the city attorney also agrees with. So that is, I'm moving that, and similar to what happened on the item above, it would be to approve that ballot language to submit the proposal of police insurance to the electorate as part of the 2016 general election. And also early signature by the mayor requested. Final item is strategic workforce planning, and this would be approving the enterprise workforce representation goals of hiring 41% of the city's workforce as people of color by 2022 and 45% of the city's workforce as women by 2022, and then directing the Department of Human Resources in conjunction with the information technology to develop a website that will include quarterly workforce dashboards and annual enterprise equal employment opportunity plans, and to report back to the Committee of the Whole at the end of the first quarter 2017 on progress on those items. And I would move all three items, although we may want to take them up separately depending. So,
Councilmember Glidden has moved the Committee of the Whole report in its entirety. Anyone want to discuss any of those items? Councilmember Cano.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to speak to items number 1, the petition to amend the city charter on minimum wage, and item number 2, the petition to amend the city charter to allow the ballot question for police professional liability insurance, although I realize that the direction here is not to approve that. So first of all, I want to thank our community members who have worked so hard over the last couple of years to raise the visibility and the importance of the economic justice conversation around wages in our city and around the future of our city. Because only by achieving an equitable city where community members can make a living and pay their bills can we really ensure that our city will be successful. And I'm going to vote against both of these issues today because I disagree with the legal opinion of the city. I believe that both of these charter amendments via ballot questions should be forwarded to our residents. And I believe that there is legal room for that to happen. And I believe that we need to support our Minneapolis residents to have that conversation and to also ask, the courts to take a look at the issue if there are indeed questions about the legality of these charter amendments. Thousands of people entrusted me with their vote to represent them on the city council. And in return, I entrust you with a vote on these two issues. And I believe after reading all the legal positions on these two items that we do have the room to make these issues fit in our charter. And the minimum wage specifically is a very important issue that we know today has to move forward with or without a charter amendment. And I think some of the actions in today's council will reflect that there is a majority of council members who want to raise the wage. And I think it's very important for us who come from low-income communities, who come from immigrant communities, who come from communities that are directly impacted by labor exploitation, wage theft, in situations where we find ourselves trying to figure out how to make ends meet for a family, to ensure that that conversation of $15 an hour never goes away. So with that, I do want to speak to the issue of the police professional liability insurance. And as some of you know, I was on the Minnesota Public Radio talking about it yesterday. And I am not confident that the charter amendment is illegal, and therefore I feel completely in my full right and responsibility as a council member to allow that to move forward. I understand that I am in the minority on that vote. And I think that it's important to acknowledge that from my perspective, this issue does become a very appropriate issue in our charter, and that it's certainly within our powers to regulate and oversee our employees. And of course, Minneapolis officers are part of that mix. And I think this is a common sense approach issue. I think many of our police officers are doing a wonderful job of providing safety and security to our community members. I regularly meet with our 3rd precinct inspector and the beat officers in the 3rd precinct, and I am more than thankful for all the amazing work that they do to build relationships with businesses, to show up to all the community meetings, to come out to National Night Out, and to respond to issues that are happening, whether it's at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., or midnight when I get the text messages from our inspectors. And so with that, I want to say that this initiative for me is about supporting those officers to do a good job, to continuing to provide a culture of police accountability where no police officer has to find themselves coming home to their wife saying, honey, I shot somebody and killed somebody today. Nobody should ever be in that position. And I don't think that this is an initiative that is meant to punish anybody. This is actually a tool that we need that should move forward with all the other tools that we're trying to move forward to uproot the negative legacies of slavery and colonization from our policing systems, which we are bringing light to today. So I want to say finally that another reason why I'm voting for this is because she is made of diamonds. She is 4 years old and wears pink and blue beads sometimes, barrettes in her braided hair, maybe chewing bubble gum is her favorite, and possibly she likes the swings best of all at the park. Her voice certainly glitters. Her voice has always glittered. It has never needed your permission or invitation or your blessing. Last Wednesday night, she sat buckled in the car's back seat on the way home from the grocery store. Maybe she was chewing bubble gum. Her bedtime routine most likely would have been next in order of the weeknight things. But a nearby police car slowed its suburban patrol. When the car she was riding in passed, one of the officers noticed how the other car's driver had a wide-set nose, and he fit the description. In less than 2 minutes, she listened as police officers pull the car she was riding in over and give orders. She saw the driver and her mother follow those orders. Might be the officer, now pointing his gun at the driver, didn't see her in the back seat. He therefore never would have noticed the colorful beads in her hair. He definitely knew nothing about the driver. A man who just shopped for groceries. A man who just had a family dinner and got his hair cut earlier that evening. In less than 2 minutes, she, 4 years old, watched one of the police officers shoot the driver again and again, then begin screaming at her mother. It must have felt like forever. The driver fit the description. He was following orders. He was not the man.